I serve as the founding dean of the School of Arts of Science, Technology at University Canada West, and it is my privilege to moderate today's session. The future of higher education will be shaped by the people who teach. And what is key here is that we need to acknowledge also our partner in this initiative, Dr. T.P. Singh, right, founding Pro-Vice Chancellor of Chandigarh University, Uttar Pradesh. His presence reflects the level at which this conversation must take place. It's preparing faculty for AI integrated systems. Now, this panel reflects collaboration across 3 institutions operating with distinct governance environments in Canada, India, and Australia. On this slide, you see the colleague who contributed to the design and facilitation of, So, contributed to the design and facilitation of the institutional foresight exercises that inform today's discussion. Faculty leaders from Chandigarh University, Uttar Pradesh, Canterbury Institute of Management, and University Canada West brought forward perspectives shaped by their own regulatory contexts, institutional priorities, and faculty realities. These were grounded conversations within real time and real institutional environments designed to surface practical tension as well as structural conditions. Now, when we consider, when placed side by side, these institutional perspectives and reveal something very important. Despite different systems as well as different national contexts, many of these issues are structural pressures that converge together. And that convergence is why this discussion belongs at a global summit here in India. For today's agenda, we will bring those insights into dialogue, and we will begin with a global framing, followed by reflections from each institution or institutional context. We will then identify what convergence across systems and what that convergence suggests for the decade ahead. Slide here. Okay, sorry. No. Thank you. All right. So Faculty Futures 2035 emerged from the recognition that faculty readiness must be intentionally designed. It cannot be left to chance, nor can it rely solely on individual adaptation. Rather, it belongs to a global framing. So I would like to introduce Dr. Aya Shilabikova, who is unable to join us here in India, but she has prepared a video, and I'm hoping to share that with our colleagues here today. All right, and then.
Thank you, Dr. Song, for that generous introduction and for your leadership in convening this panel. Namaste and good afternoon. My name is Dr. Agirim Shilibekova, and I'm a professor of strategy at University Canada West. It is a great honor to be part of the India AI Impact Summit 2026 and share this work alongside with my colleagues from India, Australia, and Canada. Faculty Futures 2035 did not begin as an intentional framework or a theoretical concept. It began with a simple conversation between two human beings. Dr. Amandeep Sehmi from Canterbury Institute of Management and I had never met in person. We connected online through the AI in Education at Oxford University Research Hub and Global Network. What started as a professional exchange became a shared inquiry, a shared ambition to deliver a joint collaborative project. When Amandeep brought forward this opportunity of the summit and encouraged us to think boldly, I welcomed that opportunity because at that time I was sitting with a question that had been growing in my own research work. And the question was, if artificial intelligence is reshaping higher education, who is preparing or building capacity, skilling, upskilling the people who hold the system together, the faculty? Who prepares them for the future that is so complex and uncertain for us? That question became the catalyst. So together we discussed multiple ideas, and we at UCW designed and submitted two proposals, which were generously supported by the partners and colleagues at Canterbury Institute of Management in Melbourne and Chandigarh University, Uttar Pradesh, which we are very grateful for. So the first proposal was the pre-summit workshop series implemented through the Center for Teaching Excellence at University Canada West and across other institutions. And the second proposal is the panel, where we move from local conversation to a broader global framing. And this is why we're here today. So across all these three institutional settings, more than 100 of faculty members and academic leaders engaged in a structured four-side conversations to explore, to share, to discuss changing roles of faculty in AI-augmented higher education systems. So I would like to acknowledge our colleagues in Australia and in India for their leadership in bringing this work to life locally, and they did an excellent job there. Before I proceed, I would also like to express our gratitude to the leadership of University Canada West, in particular Dr. Sandra Song, for their generous support of this initiative and for hosting this panel today. So what is Faculty Futures 2035? Let me answer that more personally than academically or strategically. Over the past 2 years, I have been in many rooms where AI was the central topic. And I'm pretty sure many of you have been in those rooms. Faculty councils, policy roundtables, professional development workshops and trainings, research conferences and seminars. These discussions about AI have focused on many things like tools, adoption policies, detection systems, platform integration, risk management, ethical aspects. Those conversations are necessary, but they tend to leave unexamined a deeper structural issue. As generative systems become embedded in routine academic tasks, drafting, synthesizing, analyzing, ideation, aspects of intellectual labor begin to shift and change. When that happens, questions of authority inevitably follow. Who evaluates knowledge claims? Who defines what counts as understanding or as a learning? How standards are maintained when parts of cognitive work are mediated by external platforms? Faculty Futures 2035 emerged from that tension. And it is not an attempt to predict technological futures or to offer some solutions to the current challenges, but rather to create that safe space for faculty around the world to come together to think intentionally about the roles and authority that's been changing in this context, because change will happen regardless. And the question is whether faculty shape it or simply adapt to it after the fact. And that is where human-centered AI enters this discussion. Within that framework, human-centered AI becomes more a design orientation. The phrase is often used rhetorically in some contexts. In higher education, however, it has specific implications. It suggests that accountability for academic standards remains human, even with the elements of knowledge production being assisted by automated systems. So the central concern is not whether AI should be used, it is how institutions preserve clarity about who defines academic judgment in environments where technological systems increasingly mediate intellectual work. So human-centered AI then is a way of maintaining institutional agency when the infrastructural or technological change takes place at such an unprecedented rapid pace. And this leads us to the question of readiness. Readiness that is frequently described in terms of skills like AI literacy, AI fluency, prompt design, experimentation with tools, integration into the teaching, learning, research, and all these are relevant. But institutional readiness is not reducible to individual competence. We believe that it concerns alignment across multiple layers of the university at the individual level, collective level, institutional level. And when these levels move independently, strain appears, not always dramatically, but steadily. When they move in alignment, institutions maintain stability even as technological systems change or infrastructural changes happen. And in this sense, readiness is less about upskilling and more about institutional coordination. So this brings us to what we describe as a strategic horizon toward 2035 or global roadmap towards 2035. And faculty futures is structured around a set of those questions that will increasingly shape institutional decision making over the next decade. On this slide, you see three of them. The first concerns coordination, the second concerns redesign, the last one concerns capability. And taken together, these are not technical questions. They are questions about responsibility, about institutional agency, and about the credibility of higher education in a period of all this unbelievable change that we have. Faculty Futures 2035 is our way of approaching those questions deliberately again before patterns become embedded by default and would be dictated by the technological forces. And with that framing in place, I would now like to invite my colleague, Dr. Sana Jamel, from the Center for Teaching Excellence at University Canada West, my co-lead and amazing coordinator of the pre-summit workshop series, as well as the preparatory work for this panel. And I would like to invite her to share how these questions were translated into a structured workshop design across Canada, Australia, and India, and also explain our methodology and share the prompts that we have discussed across all three contexts during our workshops. Thank you.
You want to clap? She won't hear it. I was just joking, but thank you. All right, thank you everyone. Thank you Aya for recording the video and being present at least, in spirit. This one? Okay, thank you. All right, moving forward. I will just skip her slides because you have already seen her slides in in her video that she shared. So let's start with now, let's go back here. Yes. So now to operationalize the global framing that Aya was talking about, we needed a design that actually can bring out the structural insights from faculty quickly. And each institute pilot was structured as a rapid foresight lab. And deliberately, we chose this methodological choice, not as a perception, like it was not meant to just be a survey and gather their input. It was not meant to test a hypothesis. It was purposely creating an environment for strategic sense-making, bringing faculty all under one room and giving them a chance to address those 3 areas that Aya has mentioned. So the objective was then to bring out how faculty interprets shifting expectations, professional authority, and institutional responsibility in AI-embedded system. So we had this time boxed, as you can see over there, and you must be wondering what that means. And the rotation was intentional. So I will explain what exactly we mean over here with the time box and the rotation prompts. So basically under this compression of this pressure that we put in on participants to respond to the question under that constrained format, there were 3 countries who participated. So Canada, we have our Indian partners over here from Chandigarh University, Uttar Pradesh. And then we had our Australian partners from Canterbury Institute of Management. Each group, each country followed the same kind of format. So we had this rotational format, which is like each table had prompts, like 6 questions. And once the faculty, like a group of people from each table, they address the prompt, they answer the question, and the time boxing over here means that everyone was given 10 minutes to respond to that prompt. Once the 10 minutes were up, they get up, they move to the next table, and over there then they answer the next prompt. Now there's another additional unique thing that we did, which is that every table had a note taker and a facilitator. And this was also done intentionally. To capture the ideas while the discussion is going on, we had a note taker. We had a facilitator because we wanted to make sure that the topic is being addressed and not just people talking about their holidays. So it was under this pressure of time, keeping it on task, on topic, and then the rest of the faculty would get up when it's 10 minutes, and then they would move to the next table. Whereas the note taker and the facilitators, they stayed on their table. So it was a very unique design that we implemented, the format. And the structure was basically, I will go back, sorry, my notes are here. So each group discussed the prompt. Structured prevented 2 predictable failures. The discussion collapsing into tool level detailing. So we didn't really want to focus on the tool itself, but the challenges around it. Second, remaining at frustration level without design implications. So when there's a time constraint, people tend to just focus on the more important things that need to be discussed, rather than sharing their ranting, just ranting about it or frustrating about it, what the challenges are being addressed at the faculty level. So rotation model then forced cross-pollination of perspectives by distributing ownership of their insights. Okay, so these were their different categories that I was also addressing. So individual faculty perspective, professional development as a collective practice, and institutional responsibility. So the prompts were organized across these 3 interdependent levels: individual faculty perspective, like I mentioned over here, professional development, and the institutional responsibility and system design. This architecture mirrors the faculty readiness model introduced earlier that Aya was talking about. AI integration does not destabilize only individual capability. It destabilizes the professional norms and institutional coordination systems. By structuring discussions across these levels, we could observe where tension accumulates and where design intervention becomes absolutely necessary. So Okay, so let's look at what questions we were looking at the individual level. So at individual level, faculty were asked, project to 2035, how is the nature of faculty work changing as AI becomes embedded in higher education? And what capabilities must intentionally build to perform well in that future? These prompts shift attention from tools to role transformation. They surface evolving expectations around judgment, oversight, accountability, and epistemic authority. Then at the community level, the professional development piece over here as a collective practice. In practice, how do faculty even build and sustain capability using under ongoing change? By the time they attend a PD session, after several months, that tool does not even exist, or that technology does not even exist. So there's this constant change occurring. And where does professional development fail? This reframed professional development as a system, not as a programming. It exposed the difference between episodic, exposure, and cumulative capabilities. It also surfaced where institutions unintentionally undermine the very capacity they seek to build. So now let's look at the institutional level. We asked, what conditions must institutions take responsibility for as faculty's role is evolving? And what institutional structures currently make it harder for faculty to exercise professional capability? These questions redirect accountability upward. They move the conversation from faculty need more training, always we hear this, to institutions must redesign the coordination system. So across Canada, India, and Australia, we held these prompts constant. That consistency was critical. It allows us to interpret convergence not as coincidence, but as structural signal. With that architecture in place, we can now examine what's actually surfaced as national context. All right, so we're going to look up and see what we did in Canada. And then we're going to go over and see what happened in India, what happened in Australia. So let's see what we did in Canada, which is our university in Vancouver, BC, University Canada West. And as an educational technologist at the Center for Teaching Excellence at UCW, University Canada West, I work at the intersection of faculty development, instructional design, and the emerging technologies. So the Canadian pilot offered a valuable opportunity to observe how AI integration is unfolding not only in theory, but in everyday teaching practice. So a little bit about UCW, University Canada West. It has 254 faculty across 2 schools and more than 30 course families with frequent cross-school teaching. So we operate within British Columbia, within British Columbia's quality framework, quality assurance framework, and our hybrid delivery model was established before the widespread AI adoption. So this context matters, and AI is entering this ecosystem that was not originally designed for constant human AI interaction. So faculty are now navigating their way, AI within existing assessment structures, curriculum change, workload expectations, and academic integrity policies that predate generative systems. From the perspective of the Center for Teaching Excellence at UCW, we've seen rapid faculty interest in AI-related programming. So there's sudden interest in looking into learning more about it. Engagement has grown organically, often driven by immediate classroom challenges, constant challenges that they're facing at on daily basis. They want to kind of address those challenges rather than institutional mandates. So this creates both innovation, but at the same time, unevenness. So here are some pictures at our workshop that we conducted. Aya is in the background, and you can see our partners on the screen who had joined us online. So they were there to observe what we're doing in our context. Then when they did it, we were there to observe virtually what they were doing, how they're implementing it. So we did this like basically 3 times. That's Sandra, and another picture over here. So you will notice that every table over here, yeah, I can see it. So you will see here that every table has these laptop, a person sitting with a laptop who's taking notes, and there's one person who's facilitating, and then that's our awesome faculty interacting with the prompt that is on table. A more overview of this workshop. So you can see there are 6 tables set up. Each table had a different prompt under those 3 categories. You can also see the timer going on on the screen. So there was 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, people had to get up, move to the next table. So a quick I can lower the volume, but what becomes visible in the workshop was not really the technological anxiety, it was professional calibration. Faculty were rethinking what it means to actually design assignments, evaluate student work, and model responsible AI use, often independently within their own courses. So the challenge is not really their willingness, it is the alignment. So you can see that the timer was up, and the moment the timer was done, people started getting up and moving around to the next table. All right, let's move to the next slide now. What we actually got out of those discussions, those workshops. So these are our faculty insights. So 3 insights stood out. Again, at the individual level, faculty emphasized evaluative judgment. They were less concerned with generative AI outputs and more concerned with distinguishing credible reasoning from hallucination, bias, and surface fluency. So at the collective level, then there was the strong demand for shared clarity. Faculty asked for discipline, relevant guidance on responsible AI use, not rigid rules, but defensible boundaries that allow professional judgment to recognize and be recognized and supported. At the institutional level, assessment redesign was something that surfaced repeatedly. Faculty recognized that traditional assessment models are under pressure, but they express uncertainty about how to recalibrate expectations consistently across programs. From a faculty development perspective, this signals that the pressure is not technical, but it's structural. Now, out of those 3, we then have a strategic implication for our institution. First, AI capability must be embedded in ongoing professional learning, not addressed through isolated workshops. Faculty need structured opportunities to experiment, reflect, and recalibrate judgment within their disciplines. Second, institutional guidance must move beyond general statements. Clarity around AI use and academic integrity must be coherent enough to reduce ambiguity without constraining pedagogical autonomy. Third, if AI literacy is becoming a core faculty competency, then institutions must recognize it accordingly. In workload planning, evaluating systems, and long-term strategic priorities. From the vantage point of the Center for Teaching Excellence, the Canadian pilot demonstrated that AI integration is fundamentally about supporting faculty in a period of structural transition. And as you will see in the broader synthesis across all these different countries, these patterns actually extend beyond one institutional context. And with that, I will pass it on to you. Now we are going to see what took place in the Indian context. And I would like to invite Dr. Professor T.P. Singh. Right.
Thank you, Sana. Distinguished delegates, colleagues, policymakers, and all attendees here, with profound height, I stand here as a Vice Chancellor of one of India's reputed university, Chandigarh University, Uttar Pradesh. It's enough to say that we are NIRF rank 19 across India, and we have expanded our wings to Uttar Pradesh, specifically in Lucknow. So I am representing here very profoundly a newborn university over there, but the roots are very deep. This university is truly a multidisciplinary university. Just to set the context, we do have, to begin with, 150 faculty colleagues, 40 different programs, around 2,700 students on campus, and those programs are really multidisciplinary in nature. These are from law to liberal arts to engineering to management to computing and so on and so forth. I forgot to include pharmacy as well. So what Sana told, the same design was adopted at Chandigarh University, Uttar Pradesh, to discuss the faculty futures down the line a decade, 10 years, how it would be. And what came out from there, I would be narrating rather than going towards the slides. Before going to the slides, before narrating that, I wish to show you some of the quick pictures as a protocol, that the same thing has happened or replicated what was done at University Canada West. So there was the table structure laid down, everybody was there sitting, one note taker was there, one facilitator was there, and so on and so forth. Now I quickly will come that how around those three things, what Sana briefed you in the beginning, that what actually came out from the entire discussion of roughly 100 participants who were there, involved directly or indirectly. Artificial intelligence is no longer an emerging trend that we all know. It is rapidly becoming embedded into the academic bloodstream of any university, any higher educational institution. Across disciplines, in fact, the shift is already visible. Take it forensic sciences. I forgot to include the name of forensic science. We are running for courses in forensic science. Include forensic sciences, include healthcare, include management, domain we can think of, AI is there. Somewhere with very profound handshake, somewhere with certain reservations. Reservations like in the field of judiciary, there is a emotional intelligence or contextual interpretation and moral discriminant that cannot be automated. This thing is still prevailing in the judiciary domain if we want to integrate AI into that. So these domain specific examples which I have taken collectively underscore a larger truth and which came out from those discussions. AI is transformative, but it is not sovereign. This brings a central question of transforming the faculty who would be dealing with the next generation and passing the integration of AI into various domains. By 2035, what was observed, faculty members will not simply deliver lectures or supervise research, they will become curators of knowledge. All know, nothing new, but in new era, and that era is algorithmic era. Critical validators of AI generated insights. So this was also another very wonderful point which came out. Designers of human AI collaborations and ethical stewards. Now the traditional model of knowledge transmission is giving way a more complex responsibility ensuring that intelligence, whether human or artificial, is accurate, contextualized, ethical, and socially meaningful. However, this evolution demands intentional capability building, and that capability building, we talked during those roundtables that how those capability buildings must go down the line a decade's time. First and foremost thing which came up is that domain expertise becomes even more critical in the AI age. AI is not only one thing which will do everything. So domain expertise is first thing which came out from the discussion. Second thing, new literacies are emerging: analytical thinking, data literacy, basic programming awareness, mathematical reasoning, and interdisciplinary curiosity. These things faculty wants that they should inculcate, and that those must be the central point while faculty is teaching to the next generation. Thirdly is lifelong learning is no longer aspirational. In fact, it is structural now. So aspirations was past, now structural is the future. But alongside this all capability building, what was observed that the ethical complexities must be confronted. The guiding principle must there be human in loop governance. AI should augment human capability. It should not replace the responsibility, human responsibility. Faculty must model ethical use, what was observed by the faculty, verifying outputs, attributing sources, and ensuring transparencies. Yet we must acknowledge an uncomfortable truth: faculty professional development often fails not because educators resist change, but because system constrain them. And this is a big point which came out from the discussions. System constraint. So systems need to be faculty where the system, and here come the institution what Sana was talking about. Here comes the institution where their role start more prominently. Many institutions remain semi-digital. Now, in the name of digital, they are semi-digital. They become knowledge systems are fragmented and unstructured. This was again an observation among the faculty members. Infrastructure gap limits the access to computational capabilities, computational infrastructure, and so on and so forth. But the faculties are overburdened with the administrative and all other type of works. That was a wonderful observation, and almost everybody put it on record. So institutions must take deliberate actions in 5 areas. One is infrastructure enablement, that was observed. Second is mandated and structured training, that was again observed. Third is workload rationalization. Fourth is pedagogical transformation. And the last one is ethical and governance frameworks. Everywhere AI will be a facilitator. We must also guard against what we may be termed intellectual delegation by default, unconscious outsourcing of thinking to machines. This is a very unconsciously what we are doing. Faculty observed that unconsciously the next generation is outsourcing the thinking to machines, and that has to be stopped, and that has to be somehow brought in to the teaching pedagogies. Looking towards 2035, I am just summing up. The future of faculty work is not defined by technological displacement, but by cognitive elevation. The successful faculty member of the future, what was observed by all our participants, will be deeply rooted in disciplinary scholarship, technological fluent, but critically vigilant, ethically grounded, and socially responsive, interdisciplinary in outlook, and committed to lifelong intellectual renewals. Untimely, the age of AI calls us not to surrender our humanity, but to refine it. Let us go hand in hand. That was another very strong observation from all the faculty. So artificial intelligence, I conclude, artificial intelligence can accelerate so many things, may it be discovery, may it be enhanced, may it be precision in doing the works and democratizing access to knowledge, but wisdom, empathy, moral judgment, and contextual understanding remain human capacities, and faculty wants that these must be with them, these must be retained with them. The future of higher education will not be written by algorithms only, it will be co-authored by visionary institutions likes of us, empowered faculty likes the one who participated, responsible governance, and ethically guided intelligence. If we act with intentionally today, this is possible. That's all from my side. In next 30 seconds, Dr. Amit Mishra will conclude the last 3 points.
Thank you, sir. Although I am having only 30 seconds, but here I would like to highlight one important point. The conclusions which we are drawing here, that is not only limited to the engineering background. Basically, we had the 38% from all diversity, you know. Few of them were from the medical field, few of them were from the engineering background, few of them were from the government background, they were also political background, even though some industry peoples, all 38 peoples came together and they drawn a few conclusions, whatever the Dr. T.P. Singh has been discussed. On the basis of that, we have here few of the recommendation for the institution in the Indian perspective. So the recommendations are going to conclude in 3 important points, and the first point which we are covering, the first recommendation which we are giving for the institution, that is build institutional AI infrastructure and the training, which include provide access to the AI tools, GPU and dedicated labs which we have in Chandigarh University, Uttar Pradesh, offer essential skill programs such as prompt engineering and the AI tool training, encourage experimentation with a strong emphasis on the human oversight, helps faculty stay ahead of the AI advancement and close skill loops. And the second recommendation which we are going to suggest here, that is what the promote, I think the next slide, sorry. So the second recommendation which we are giving here, that is to promote the ethical and human in the loop while using the AI, and which include the position AI as a support tool, not as a replacement for the educator, require faculty to verify AI outputs using the domain expertise, reinforcement the ethics to prevent plagiarism, biasness, misinformation, and the over-resilience. And the last recommendation which we are suggesting to the Indian institutions are, that is overcome barriers through the strategic ecosystem, which includes the resolve limitations like semi-digital system and the fragmented knowledge. It also includes the develop real-world outcome-based AI labs, integrated AI literacy in the curriculum, which we are also having, as I'm saying that the Chandigarh University, Uttar Pradesh is a AI augmented university. So in all the curriculum, we are including the AI in a syllabus. Even though in the last, I'm going to share the recommendation, that is provide the workload relief, even though Canada people are also saying the same thing, provide the workload relief to support the continuous learning and the innovation. So it's all from the Indian perspective. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Professor Singh and Dr. Amit. Thank you. So what I'd like to do now is to move to our colleagues in Australia who have played also a very important role in bringing this idea to life. Unfortunately, though, our colleagues could not join us here in India, but they did prepare a video to share with us, and I'm hoping that we will understand their operating context as the Faculty Futures workshops had moved to Australia.
Canterbury Institute of Management is one of the leading private education based in Australia in higher education. So our unique, we offer degrees in undergraduate, postgraduates, and at the research degrees at the master's level. Our unique context is that we are professionally oriented. Our curriculum, our degrees are professionally oriented and industry aligned practice, where our faculty has an equal combination of industry based and academic with the PhD holders on the master degrees, but majority of our academic staff are PhD holders. So we have mix of academic and industry experience faculty who are training our students in undergraduate and the MBA levels to be at least job ready when they graduate with the degrees. So the growing interest of AI integration, we have witnessed our among our family, our faculty family over here at CIM. And considering those ones, CIM is proactively organizing different workshops, seminars, and peer collaborations, and guest speakers from industry as well as from the higher education, public universities here in Australia or worldwide for the faculty development of the CIM. So our key motive is that our faculty should be able to collaborate with the other academia, other faculty and industry experts so that they can meaningfully integrate AI into the curriculum and pedagogy at CIM. So as the best example of that one is
She has?
so best example of that one is that when we recently organized a third workshop of the series in collaboration with University Canada West and Chandigarh University Uttar Pradesh under the affiliation of AI India Summit, India Impact Summit. So the key design and the structure of the workshop were the same as designed by University Canada West and followed by the two other institutes. So 6 prompts and the tables with the 6 tables with the participant and discussion was around those 6 prompts. The key insight that has developed from those insight is that the shift of the all faculty development should be more focused towards the faculty development on the capabilities, their judgment and their ethical, how they can use the AI ethically, how they can integrate AI into the curriculum from the pedagogy perspective rather than the teaching and learning perspective, rather than considering AI as a tool. And the key focus should not be trained faculty in the way that they consider AI as a tool. So the emphasis was also on the redesigned assessment and to enable meaningful and responsible use of AI so that our faculty is confident with a strong ethical and pedagogical judgment when they integrate AI into their curriculums over here. And the key focus was also that emerged from the discussion as part of the workshop was that there should be a leadership and the AI should be integrated into the governance and policy should be littered around that one so that they have that leadership that can guide them to develop those skills and capabilities for sustainable AI adoption. In the next 10 years, the strategic vision where CIM see itself and the AI is that our key focus is to develop an AI forward learning ecosystem where we position ourselves to embed AI into the curriculum, into the assessment, into the research, and at the same time involving different stakeholders, industry engagement, and the other group partners from the other higher education based in Australia and based in other countries for that one, and invest continuously in AI focused professional development that can lead to the pedagogy, innovation, and leadership capacities to ensure the sustainable transformation. In the next 10 years, we also see ourselves working on developing an ethical framework and a strong AI based governance and our policies that provide a secure tool and technology that is related to AI for our faculty development and ensuring that academic integrity is not only happening at the part of that student level only, but when it comes to collaboration for the research, it should be seen as a key importance in the faculty development as well. So since we are our majority of the students are over here international, our academics are from different ethnic and cultural and language backgrounds. So we also see ourselves considering equity and inclusion when integrating AI at any level of our whether it's a pedagogy, whether it's just for the for our graduates employability. So that will be considered as a key part of our strategic vision that we see ourselves in a 10-year.
I think in the interest of time, I'm going to. Okay, perfect. understand. So first of all, I want to thank you for your patience. There was a lot of information that was shared today. And I think what is important is that we share the learnings of those 3 pre-conference workshops. And what I hope to do is to give you the cliff notes, essentially. What has happened here is that Canada, Australia, and India clearly operate under different regulatory regimes, different scales, different policy pressures, and yet the faculty in all 3 countries basically described what AI is doing inside their institutions, and that this convergence is deeply structural. So that is a very important takeaway from today's conversation. As well, these are not 3 isolated national stories about a new tool. In fact, it is a shared reconfiguration of academic work. And I believe that's a fundamental lesson that has been learnt from these dialogues across India, Canada, as well as Australia. And fundamentally here, this reconfiguration of academic work is about how this is produced, as well as evaluated and governed. And so this convergence is the basis for a roadmap that is emerging. And what I would like to do is to move towards what this global roadmap looks like. Thank you. So basically, the idea of a global roadmap is emerging, which fundamentally does not mean universal policy, but rather it means a template that will be exported across different systems. And it cannot be a finished blueprint. It has to be unfinished. So it is an emerging design that is architecturally grounded in convergence, as well as refined through continued cross-context texting. And so what I hope to do now is that as we continue these global dialogues, we will expand further in these 3 countries and beyond. And it is a wonderful opportunity to share these insights at this particular summit. And I thank you for your time.